Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, issue number 1. That's right, folks, we're back. The first issue of Moon Knight to come out this year. Vengeance of the Moon Knight just wrapped up. Guess who's back from the dead? It's Mark Spector. He's got a brand new costume, but he doesn't wear it in this issue, so why did we hype it up? Just for the covers? Is that what we're doing here? It's fine. I'm not complaining. The team's back. And by team, I mean Jed MacKay, Alessandro Cappuccio, Rochelle Rosenberg, and Corey Petit. The whole team's back. The team that made this book incredible for 30 issues. Well, not specifically 30, but you know. The team that made Moon Knight cool again. They're back to do another Moon Knight book. And this issue is very interesting. It kind of sets things up on a lower scale, which is very fascinating considering it's called Fist of Khonshu. You'd think we'd go more in the direction of Khonshu, but Khonshu is not even referenced in this issue. So that's very peculiar. I find it fascinating in a way that is cool. So this issue opens up and we see Mr. Knight is trying to get into a club somewhere. There's a dress code and he's like, it's okay, I'm always dressed to kill. So he's going to go do something. Meanwhile, as that's happening, we cut to a diner and we see that someone named Detective Frazier is talking to Flint. And Flint no longer works for the police force. So they're sitting in a cafe and he's like, I don't know what you really want me to say here. Like you're trying to figure out if Moon Knight's back. Well, when it comes to like these caped vigilantes and all these people in the costumes, they always come back. None of them stay dead forever. But Moon Knight in particular, he comes back more than any of them. And pretty much the rest of this issue is going to be the conversation between Flint and Frazier. Like, she's trying to get a hold of, like, what's going on with Moon Knight. She's like, so he's come back from the dead, but we can still get him. Like, we're still able to get him because we got him before. And Flint's like, well, it wasn't like the New York Police Department that got him. It was the Thunderbolts during Devil's Reign. They're the ones that got him. But also, he wanted to get caught to deal with, like, Man Mountain Marco when he was in the Meridian. So he really just let that happen. And Frazier's like, so you're telling me he's above the police? That's what you're saying? This guy is above the police, that we should just let him run rampant. And as they're having the conversation, we see like Mark going into like a club to fight a bunch of like masked guys or whatever. We'll talk about what that's going to in a minute here. It looks great. It's so fun. It's a really cool idea. I love the way it looks. Flint's trying to tell the detective, like, I don't think you're really hearing me. I got too close to him and things got ugly really fast and I was doing some dangerous stuff and it was seen as my fault. And then he kept going and going, and he's like a hurricane. If you get caught in it, you could die. He isn't that good as someone to have in your life, and you gotta watch out for that. I really like the dynamic here. I like Flint's not defending Mark. He's not being like, Moon Knight's a hero, we should cherish him. He's like, he's something crazy and above us that we can't really comprehend. And the way I see it, the thing he's doing to get rid of like the gangsters and the supervillains, it's all pretty good. And you know how he died this time? He was saving the city. That includes you and me, because we're a part of this. He saved us from something terrible happening. Whether you like it or not, that's what the case is. But Frazier doesn't believe that. She's like, where'd you get that like theory? Who told you that he died saving the city? Who could you believe that? Was it like one of his cronies that worked for him, or like one of the members of his cult? And he's like, what are you talking about? It seems to me that we have a menace running around New York doing something called the Midnight Mission, and he's spouting some Middle Eastern, and Flint's like, Egyptian, it's Egyptian. Just like whatever line you are headed down right now, Frazier, don't go down that line. Which is so interesting. I love this angle because it's not one you'd be expecting. And it works so well with like everything we've established with this character so far. You have a man dressed in white calling himself the voice of a god, beating up criminals in New York, and everything about him is from Egypt. He's got disciples, essentially, followers that work for him. It's very interesting. And of course, Frazier is going to look at it that way. She's like, he's spouting the superstitions of gods. It sounds very suspicious. Is he a cult leader or is he a terrorist? Like, I'm looking through the files here. He converted a teenage girl to his cause, an ex-soldier, and he's got like a brother who's like a guru that works for him. He got like a fallen celebrity, a has-been Avenger under his belt, and an ex-supervillain. All of these people who are susceptible to what he has created. And I really like Jed McKay being able to like take the thing he created and like spew it in this direction. Where look at the people he has under his control. I say control loosely. A child who is susceptible, an ex-soldier and an ex-villain who are very simple-minded. They're going to follow these orders. You have another person who dresses like they are the leader of this cult. And you have like a has-been celebrity who's like in love with like the fantasy of this guy. And Flint's like, that's not what are you doing here? Like, what are you trying to do? As Flint's trying to like defend himself because he thinks he's being interrogated now for his connection to Moon Knight, we see Marcus beating up some more weird people, and we'll cut back to what that is again in a minute here. You think you need to lawyer up? Is that how you think? You know, most innocent people don't really need a lawyer. It's like, you just want to talk. That's what this is. Consult on a case you're working on. I didn't know this was a full-on investigation, that you're trying to do something about this problem. We also learned that Fraser works for like SWAT, so like whatever that is to you, whatever that is in the Marvel universe. I mean, I'm sure it's just like a SWAT team or whatever, but like people are getting concerned that Moon Knight's back to do some dangerous stuff, and Fraser is like, this isn't gonna go well. Like he sounds to me, Flint, that you've been drinking the coffee that he's been giving you, and I don't think that's good. And he's like, I'm not anything. I'm here to tell you, Moon Knight is not a guy you want to mess with. This isn't going to go well for you. So he gets up to leave, and she's like, you were police. I'm with the department. You got to understand something about this is not up. And he's like, I'm not a snitch. Whatever your beef is with Moon Knight, I'm not a part of it. So he just leaves. I love that. Then we cut to the conversation that Mark was having, and he's like in a room, and he's talking to some cool, scary-looking anime villains. Like, come on. I love the way that we're making gangsters in this book. We got a guy here called Achilles Fairchild. He's got an assassin named Carver. And Moon Knight came to talk to them because something bad has been coming through his street. So he reaches into his jacket pocket to pull something out. Just like a little bit of a bag that's clearly full of a drug. It's a type of angel dust that they're calling glitter on the streets. And Mark's like, this has been running through my neighborhood, and I don't like that. And you have people who have turned into addicts, and it's happening in record time, and they're in my streets, and I don't like that, because then they need cash, they become petty criminals, and I don't like seeing that. Now, glitter is getting more and more popular, and I know this city has one supplier, and that's you, Fairchild. So why don't you just tell me why you think this is acceptable? He's like, what is this? This is an interrogation? You came here to like question me? What do you think's happening here? I don't know what you're talking about, is what Fairchild's saying. And he's like, this doesn't matter, you know? This is nothing. I like it. He's trying to like get a read on Mark as well. Like, what's your addiction? Everyone's got an addiction. Mark's like, violence. He's like, I could tell violence. Fairchild says he used to be a boxer. Of course, we know Mark was a boxer as well. Just people who like getting their hands dirty. But Fairchild's like, look, I used to get my hands dirty. I don't do that anymore. That's why I got Carver over here. So if you're going to keep insinuating that I'm responsible for something that's coming through the city, well, you're going to have to meet the sharp blade of Carver. You know, she used to work for Roxxon, and she's been in some pretty intense situations. So Mark just has a sword at his neck, and he doesn't flinch. He's not scared about this. He's just like, look, this was a warning. If you want to see it as a warning, that's what it is. If not, just know next time I see you, it ain't gonna be good. And Fairchild's like, well, that's it? That's your big threat? You just came here to like tell me off? He's like, no, I like it when they see me coming. And Mark's alone in the room now, just looking at him like, the next time shit goes down here, you and me are gonna have a problem, buddy. Ooh, that's the good stuff. That is the good stuff. I love to hear that, and I love to see that. So we then cut back to Fraser, and she is exiting the cafe. She's getting into a vehicle, and you're like, oh, she's talking to like the member of like her SWAT team. Like, how'd it go? She's like, I got nothing on Flint. He was a dead end. Like, he didn't do anything. And we see who she's talking to, and it is Fairchild and Carver. They are in the van with her because Frazier has an addiction to glitter, and Fairchild is trying to get her to get some stuff on Moon Knight so that he can take him down. And that's where the book ends. Pretty simple. Like, it's kind of classic what McKay's been doing with this run, seeing one thing happen in time and listen to people talk about it, the Frazier and Clint stuff being what we're seeing, and the Moon Knight just threatening a drug dealer. Like, it's that low scale that we're doing here, but it is pretty impressive and unique. Like, I'm glad we are doing this level of story. I'm really impressed. Like, it is not what I was expecting from the Fist of Khonshu book. I thought we would be a little bit more like Khonshu is guiding us and controlling things behind the scenes, and this is more, actually, we're going to beat up a drug dealer, which feels like we've been away from that for a while. It got a little too crazy with like vampires and stuff happening recently, so this is like a cool setback to something I enjoy. This book is fun. I hope it continues to be this fun. I wonder how long McKay's going to write this. I'm excited. So, Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, issue number 1, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.